The problem. Does any of this sound familiar to you? You always wanted to achieve something in your life for the longest time, and it could be anything like going to the gym, reading a book, eating healthy, or just pursuing your dreams no matter where it takes you. You have this want inside you for the longest time, so you're absolutely sure that when you get there, you'll be ready to take on any challenge that comes your way. You think to yourself, once I start, there's not going to be anything to get in my way. Finally, one day you start. You finally did it. The goal you planned for so long has finally begun. And you're not naive enough to believe that eating healthy once will change your health, or going to the gym once will put you in shape, or pursuing your dreams for one day will change your life. You know this. You know it takes time and dedication to reach your goals. This doesn't surprise you. You were ready for this. And yet, after finally living down the hype of your first success, you slowly, very slowly, just stop. You don't know why, but you just can't do it anymore. You were very careful in your approach, more prepared than most, and yet here you are just failing like all the rest. Why? You were prepared for this. You were ready. You knew what you were signing up for, and yet, why can't you do it? Or at the very least, see it through? Well, I'll tell you why. The why. It's human nature to want to be safe from any and all harm, both mental and physical. So when we plan something for a very long time, something subconscious begins to develop in the back of our heads. Is it fear? Is it doubt? I suppose for everyone it's something a little different, but one thing's for sure. It is the reason why you always fail in the end. For some, it's the fear of doing it wrong. You're not perfect enough. But you'll come back when you're better prepared. Or fear of wasting your time, following a path that isn't for you, or just won't produce the results in the amount of time you wanted. This is our curse. We spent so much time building this idea of what we wanted in our heads that when the time came, we just weren't ready. The friend. Take for example, if I was your friend and I asked you to meet one of my friends. I just told you about them at the very moment. I didn't give you much of a heads up beyond 5 minutes notice. I would say something like, hey, I actually have a cool friend I want you to meet. I know it's short notice, but do you have 5 minutes to meet them? Now for me, as an introvert, this honestly isn't a big deal. I mean, sure, I can meet them, it's not a big deal. But why? Because they weren't built up in my head for the longest time. As of right now, they're just like any other stranger, no different than the people I walk past in my daily life. So it's not that big of a deal. In fact, I may even make a new friend with this stranger. Now let's say I do it differently. I say, hey, at the end of the month, I want you to meet my friend. And as time goes on throughout the month, I always talk about my friend. I tell you what kind of person they are, the kind of accomplishments they've done, the things they like and don't like, and then before you know it, you become nervous yourself to meet this person, almost afraid. And in some cases, people would just find an excuse not to even meet that friend, or even if they do, they end up not being committed enough to meet them again. In the end, you only met them not because you wanted to, but purely out of obligation, an obligation you would back out of first chance you can get. I want you to think about the analogy I just gave you, except this time, replace the stranger in the example with your own dream. You spent so long building it up in your head that no matter how prepared you think you are, you just weren't ready, or just plain lost interest. The solution. So what is the cure for this dilemma that so many of us face? The truth is simple, painfully simple. You just have to commit to action. The moment you have an idea in your head, one that you truly believe in, you just have to take action immediately, as soon as you possibly can, and see it through. Because as you now know, the longer this dream of yours stays in your head, the longer you keep it there, the less likely it'll ever be anything more than just that, a dream.